my question was, how can we? So I really liked your point about it actually still being a problem for women to have high body counts, but it's really not a problem for guys to be short and date them. Correct. How do we help girls get over this?
There's a lot of ways to do this. I actually think a function of gratitude, and maybe here's the issue that happens, and this isn't the solution, but this is part of the problem. What happens is a girl will go through her life and she'll be pretty average on social media. There's no average for men. Men are really good on social media, or they look terrible. For women can be average and still slide into a celebrity's DMs and still have sex with the celebrity, right? There's numerous stories about Leonardo DiCaprio, numerous about different guys just running through girls throughout Hollywood, okay? Chris Brown, Nick Cannon, etc., right? And their rosters never end, okay, when it comes to that. The problem is once she has sex with Blake Griffin the first time, or Nick Cannon, or whoever, every man from that point afterwards, she compares to, or rather, she measures her value based on the fact that she fucked an NBA power forward. Now, every guy after that has to compare to the NBA power forward, and when he doesn't, because of his finances or his height or whatever reason, she has an easier escape route. It's easier to pull the ripcord and to get out, because she's already knows that she could have sex with the guy in her mind. Maybe she can change him. She can be the one to wife him up, or for her to be wifed up. And I see this several times where I have a lot of my female friends who are delusional, who live in Los Angeles, and they're saying, yeah, so-and-so, I used to date so-and-so. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I know him and his wife. I'm sure he fucked you. I have no doubt whatsoever. That dude never claimed you for one second in his life. And I've seen this happen over and over again, and these girls legitimately defined their own attractiveness and their standard by some celebrity they had sex with. Or it could be, let's take it all the way back. You're in high school and it's the quarterback of the football team, or it's the manager at the Denny's. Let's bring it way down. It's still like that. And so when that happens, you end up with women having, for lack of a better term, delusional beliefs about what their levels of attractiveness are. And so now everyone has to be at that range. And now they have what's called dopamine resets. Dr. Andrew Huberman talks about this. Their dopamine resets to the point where like they can only feel attraction for these men who are at these like unattainable levels. Yeah. And then once they hit 30, once they hit, the end of once they get to an epiphany phase, then all of a sudden those things don't become quite as important. And that's another evolutionary adaptation. Because now they look back, and now when they were 23 and didn't want to settle down and wanted to date the power forward, now they're 30, they look back, and now there's a 23-year-old who is dating that power forward. And he's not calling her back anymore. Or if he does, it's just for sex. Mm-hmm. And so that's the problem. And so for women, a cognitive recognition that this is the cycle that you're going through, and then deciding to not go through that cycle, that's the only thing that I can tell you. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, it sounds like you have to actually rewire your brain and realize the good that...
You have to understand the situation, the conditions you are in.
An exceptional amount of gratitude for the situation that you're in.
Yeah, and I think see the other good qualities that the guy might have and raise those higher than his height. You literally
he actually probably has more good qualities than the celebrity you had sex with, but you're not noticing
it. Yeah, in their head.
When you were first telling us your situation, when I asked you, like, are your standards or are your the guys you dated in your past, are they different than the guy you idealize as being the guy who would be, the guy who's aligned with God and a good long-term relationship? The reason is because when women get to be about 28, 29, 30, 31 years old, it's what I call the epiphany phase, and that's when women start to reprioritize those things. So when she was like 18 years old, she might be looking for nothing but the hottest guy that she can get with, like an athlete, a rock star, whatever it is, because that's the sexual energy, or whatever you want to call it, that she is at the peak of her game, and she can get that. Once she gets down to be about 29, 30, 31 years old, it's not that she doesn't want a hot guy. She does. It's just that the priority switches, where he's got to have a better job, or he's got to love his mom, or he wants to have kids, or he wants to love God and go forward in life.
I think that is happening to me. Like, I think that's actually starting to happen, where it feels like I'm just maturing and being like, oh, like, what are these more important qualities? Because
you're thinking in the long term. Finally,
I was like, I want somebody that's hot and tall.
Well,
and,
you're coming out of what? Not my words. You're coming out of what's called the hoe phase. 18 to 28 years old. That's when they're at the party. I was nice. I called it the party phase.
Exploration phase.
Yes, because you can afford to do that. Like when women say, men ain't shit. And when women say men are threatened by powerful, or men are threatened by powerful men, or they have fragile egos, or where are all the good guys? Those women tend to be 29, 30, 31 years old, or older than that, because that becomes a priority for them at that point. You don't hear that from younger women.
It's funny because I have a lot of friends that are my age, and they're virgins, and they're single, and they're going to be amazing partners. And so hearing what you're saying is actually making it make more sense. But I do also feel that
Closer to the mic.
I do also feel that the guys aren't taking responsibility. And
yeah, you're correct in that assumption.
And so it's like there's like this trade-off. Like we're gonna I wouldn't say lower our standards, but our priorities are switching, and then the guys I think are starting to wake up at that age too.
For sure. I would also argue that when you get to be 29, 30, 31 years old, you also got to remember that coincides with when women say, my biological clock is ticking, which is actually untrue. It was really probably when you were 22, 23 years old. And then on top of that, what is the average age of first marriage in the United States? 29, 30 for men, and 28, 29 for women. So it all coincides right at that point, conveniently.